Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something that might just change how you see, well, every single conflict in your life. We're talking about this powerful idea of being in the box, and understanding it is a total game changer.
Okay, so where does this all start? Well, it begins with a feeling I think we've all had, probably more times than we can count.
You know that feeling, right? Where it just seems like it's a constant battle. Doesn't matter if you're at work or trying to relax at home. It just feels like you're navigating a world of difficult people.
And to deal with all that frustration, our brains do something totally natural. We start telling ourselves stories to make sense of it all. Stories like, my boss is completely unfair.
Or maybe the story is, my team is just lazy. It can really start to feel like you're the only one pulling your weight, that you're just surrounded by people who don't care as much as you do.
Or at home, it might sound like, my partner never listens. Do you see the pattern here? In every single one of these stories, the problem is always out there. It's always someone else's fault.
But here's the tough question. What if the real problem isn't them? What if it actually starts with you? Now I know, that's a hard pill to swallow. But stick with me here, because this is the absolute key to understanding pretty much every single interpersonal mess we get ourselves into. So let's dive into it. This source of all this frustration, it actually has a name, and it's a really simple but profound metaphor. We call it the box. So what is the box? At its very heart, it's all about self-deception. It's the act of lying to ourselves about why we do what we do and who's really responsible when things go wrong. This is the very thing that keeps us stuck. So when you're deceiving yourself, when you're telling yourself those stories we just talked about, you are in the box. And it's so important to get this. The box isn't a real place. It's a mindset. It's a mental prison, really, that just completely twists how you see everything and everyone around you.
So what does it actually do? Well, when you're in the box, your whole reality gets distorted. It gives you this perfect excuse for your own negative feelings and actions. It makes you blame other people for your problems, and it completely blocks you from seeing what the real solution is. You basically become the hero and the victim all at the same time.
Okay, so how on earth do we get trapped in this box in the first place? Here's the kicker, it's not an accident. It doesn't just happen to us. It happens because of a very specific personal choice we make.
So, how do we put ourselves in there? It all starts with a single, quiet moment. Just a little internal nudge, a feeling that we often just try to push aside. Here's the path. First, you get a sense that you should do something for someone else. Then you're at a crossroads. Do you honor that feeling or do you betray it? And right there, choosing to betray that feeling, that's what puts you in the box. We call this an act of self-betrayal.
This breaks it down perfectly, right? On one side, you honor the feeling. You do the right thing. You see other people clearly as people, and you stay out of the box. Simple. But on the other path, you betray that feeling. You make an excuse, and because you didn't do what you felt you should, you now need to justify why you didn't. And that justification? Bingo. You've just built the box and stepped right inside.
All right, so once you're inside, things start to get predictable, and not in a good way. Your behavior, your thoughts, they all start to follow this very destructive pattern. Let's look at the symptoms.
So, what are the signs? How do you know if you're in the box? Well, you find yourself blaming others constantly. You're always justifying your own behavior. You start seeing people not as people, but as objects or just obstacles in your way, and you feel like a victim. Now, it's super easy to see these signs in other people, right? The real challenge, the real breakthrough is learning to spot them in yourself. Here's a perfect example. You're on a crowded train. Someone gets on looking for a seat. If you're out of the box, you see a fellow traveler. But in the box, they're an obstacle to your comfort. They're an inconvenience. They're not a person anymore, they're an it. Or think about this. You've had a terrible morning, you go to get coffee, and you snap at the perfectly nice barista. Why? Because inside the box, you feel like you deserve to be in a bad mood and they're just in your way. And this is so important because it's not just about one bad interaction.
This is about how the box completely warps your reality. It changes how you see yourself, others, and pretty much everything around you.
Okay, check this out. This table shows the world from inside the box. When you look at yourself, what do you see? You see someone hardworking, virtuous, maybe even a victim of circumstance. But when you look at others, oh, they're lazy, they're flawed, they're inconsiderate, they are the problem. See that split? It's you versus them. You're the hero, they're the villains, always.
And this mindset, it is the absolute opposite of taking true responsibility. By pointing the finger outwards all the time, you're actually giving away all your power to change things. Because, think about it, how can you solve a problem if you refuse to even see your own part in creating it?
Okay, we've talked about the box, self-betrayal, this warped reality. It's a lot, I know, but it all boils down to one final, incredibly powerful takeaway. Here it is. The first, most critical step to getting out of the box is just recognizing that you're in it. That's it. The solution never, ever starts with trying to change someone else. It has to start with the self-awareness to just admit, hey, I think I might be in a box right now.
And that's the question I want to leave you with. So what box are you in? Because just asking that question, just having the courage to look at it honestly, that is the beginning of everything. That's how you start to get out.